So getting a second passport or residency or adding multiple residencies is not Plan B 360. It's a very small component. Maybe it's 33% of your overall, or maybe it's even 25% of your overall Plan B protection that one should have in place. But that by itself is really not at all anywhere close to what a Plan B a 360 strategy should entail. If that were the case, then let's take an example of Andrew Tate, right? He claims to have a bunch of different passports and residency. He claims to have a portfolio of these different protections. But what happened? He's sitting in jail. Now, this is a bad example, but there are several examples where people are incorrectly accused, right? They may not have done something wrong. They're still paying the price for something that's totally not their fault. And then you have different bad actors, right? Certain governments are great, they function well, they're ideal governments, that's fine. But then there are certain draconian governments, or perspectives might change towards governments, right? So let's talk about the Russian government. Few people like it, few people may not like it. So it's all a very subjective thing. But the governments aside, there are also bad actors like hackers, people trying to steal your information. Maybe someone from your family wants to steal the information. Maybe your wife wants to sue you, right? Maybe your children want to gain access to some part of your information for certain purposes. So you don't know where this threat resides. It can be from anywhere. So the point is, just having a passport or a residency is not the end of the story. There are other things that you need to take into account when you have so much of external threat facing you. Some of the very key things, or three very important things that are also equally important when it comes to Plan B, is the endpoint protection. Now, you may have heard of the end-to-end protection when you're using an app like Signal or WhatsApp or Instagram or any other app. There's an end-to-end encryption, meaning when a person from point A messages you, let's say you're point B, then that channel is the information exchange is encrypted, which is good. But when this information reaches your device, let's say it's a cell phone or a laptop or a tablet or whatever it is, this is where it is completely vulnerable. And if you think about this carefully, this point is where this information is usually taken from, right? Whichever entity or bad actor it is, once they have access to this, they have access to the whole trail of information. They can go as far back as they want. So this is a very critical aspect which is often overlooked. And again, the intention is here is you're not doing anything wrong, you're not doing anything illegal, but just as a private person who is interested in privacy, who is interested in a Plan B, needs to be aware of these things existing on their system. So that's one type, which is the endpoint protection. If you are interested in different strategies where you can clean up your endpoints or you can add level of protection to your endpoint, you can return and watch this video, or you can join the channel membership. There's a lot of content which specifically talks about different strategies, which obviously is exclusively available to my channel members. So you can always hop on and take a look at additional content if you're interested. The second very important aspect that's often overlooked is your personal information protection. Now, there are a lot of data aggregation companies that pull data from different places. Let's say your LinkedIn has all your professional information that's only meant for your office people, right? They don't have access to your Facebook or any other kind of profile. They're strictly looking at your professional networks, your professional associations, your professional presence. So that is very easily available to these data aggregation companies. Then is your Facebook. If you have your Facebook, it has tons of pictures, publicly available information. Maybe your privacy settings are not right. You have all of this personal information, which even maybe you're not aware of what exists out there, right? So they have access to this. Then they have access to 10 other different locations where they can get your personal information from. When you're going to a certain government agency or maybe a certain licensing agency, there's a certain amount of information that is collected there. Maybe that information is publicly available too, right? A lot of agencies make certain information publicly available. A lot of people can actually go and query that information. So all this different information is then compiled and aggregated by certain actors. A lot of these agencies claim to be background check agencies, right? Anyone can, purchase membership and start looking you up and gaining access to all of your personal vital data and information. It's very important to be aware of what information you have put all of these places, right? Certain information you have voluntarily given. It's almost you're almost considered to be a weirdo if you don't have social media presence. That compels you to go and create all of these profiles, create unnecessary profiles, which is just purely created because of the pressure that these companies have created within the community. The community almost forces you to go create one of these accounts if you don't want to be perceived as someone weird. So that is where you got to be aware of what you're posting, where you're posting. Is it necessary? Are you in control? Now, if you are interested in rolling this back or learning more about a strategy to correct this, right? If you're not doing something wrong, if you're in the clean, if you're doing things legally, then you have full rights to be in control of what information exists out there, so that that information is not going in the wrong hands, and you're protecting your privacy, you're protecting yourself by being in control of what information is out there, and then having a strategy to roll back the damage that has already been caused. Now, if you're interested, again, as I said, hop onto the description, join my channel membership. I have a lot more content that talks about the different strategies that you can adopt to rectify this situation. The third and the very important aspect is the virtual location. Now, the physical location is taken care of. You have a passport, you have a residence, you are traveling, you're in multiple locations. So obviously you're diversifying your physical presence, but there's also something called as the virtual presence, right? As part of the virtual network, you have a virtual private network. Maybe you have Discord servers. When you're having Discord servers, the Discord servers don't have end-to-end protection. So it's very important to add endpoint protection on Discord, so that you're protected not only from a virtual standpoint, but also when the endpoints of the Discord are encrypted. So if you want to learn more about this whole technique, right, the different strategies, then you can again join the channel membership. There's a lot of content that talks about the VPN setup, right, how a VPN is so useful in today's day and age. You're protecting your physical location, great, but it's equally important or even more important to protect your virtual presence. And when you're using stuff like Discord, it's also very important to encrypt your channels or your endpoints of the Discord, so you get maximum protection when you're talking about a 360. So all of this 360 Plan B protection, I've done a great deal of in-depth assessment, analysis, strategies, and a whole lot. So make sure you go ahead and watch some of those videos. All right, I hope you liked this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, and make sure you're subbed so you don't miss out on any of the latest and greatest, and catch you in the next one.